FM 92.7.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM. Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
It's 6 o'clock. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the morning news on 3FM 92.7. The news is also live on our social media platforms at 3FM 927. I am Noble Crosby Annan. Coming up this morning, private legal practitioner urges the public to give the OSP and the AG time to complete due processes in the Ken Oforiatta case. Also, Parliament reconvenes today to consider key national business and the 2026 budget. Plus, CHAS warns of severe furniture and accommodation shortages in senior high schools. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Let's get into the bulletin, starting from here. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor is rejecting claims that it has failed to respond to letters from the Attorney General regarding the extradition of former Finance Minister Kenneth Oforiatta. In a press statement issued on 20th October, the OSP says the extradition process is well underway and it is not in any dispute with the Attorney General's office. It described the process as a multi-agency procedure that goes through several legal and diplomatic steps and insists these are ongoing effectively. The OSP confirmed that Kenneth Oforiatta is a prime suspect in a corruption probe that began under the Special Prosecutor Act. Now it says Mr. Oforiatta was duly informed and was directed to appear before the OSP, but left Ghana in January 2025 to the United States and has since not returned. The OSP also addressed a recent leak of high-level communications on social media regarding the extradition request, and the OSP says the leak did not originate from its office and warned that such breaches pose serious risk to ongoing investigations. It further stated that the extradition request was triggered after investigations into Mr. Oforiatta's tenure as finance minister and that the Attorney General has no reason to feel frustrated. The OSP says it is investigation and the investigations as well as the prosecutions are independent and will not be rushed to satisfy the public pressure. The statement added that the public will be briefed on concluded investigations by the end of October 2025. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Martin Pigbu has urged the public to exercise patience and allow the OSP and the Attorney General time to complete proper legal processes rather than expect him for immediate results.
The people who follow football, you see, Partey's kids. Partey, yes. One of our good Thomas footballers, one of the best in the Black Stars. You see, when this matter is alleged to have happened a few years ago, and then you see how long investigations took. That's rape, rape. Partey's kids rape. A few years ago, then it was announced, and then if my memory serves me right, the trial is not starting until sometime next year. So, for citizens, I'm sure this party example should be one that will help us understand that we should give the OSP and the AG a bit of time.
Martin Pigbu is a private legal practitioner speaking there. Now, the Ashanti Region CID is investigating the killing of a Senegalese national in Ghana. The police say that the 20-year-old, identified as Chief Tory, was admitted to the Menchia Government Hospital under false pretenses. Tory's death has sparked international interest, and a Facebook account belonging to international sports journalist Fabrizio Romano, hence Toure was lured into Ghana for football trials but was kidnapped and held for ransom. Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Head of Public Relations at the Ghana Police Service, DSP Godwin Annan, says personal items retrieved from the morgue, including a passport with a different name, suggests the deceased's identity was misrepresented. A special team from the homicide and forensic units have been deployed as investigations continue.
But for now, we will be able to tell whether he was lured into the country. But we know that 3 persons, and one person mentioned the name of Isa, and left his contact number. We are not able to reach him as we speak.
Right.
But our investigations is extended. So let me mention that the Inspector General of Police has also deployed a special team from the homicide unit and the forensic unit to also join the Ashanti Regional Police Command to actually unravel the circumstances surrounding the usage of the Senegalese.
That's the voice of DSP Godwin Annan, the Ashanti Regional Head of Public Relations at the Ghana Police Service. Away from that, members of Parliament will reconvene today from recess to deliberate on key national matters, including bills, motions and policy statements from the government, ministries and agencies. The upcoming meeting is the final one for this year and is anticipated to feature debates on the presentation of the 2026 budget. Christian Yali reports.
The major one on the ticket of Parliament is the reading or presentation of the 2026 budget, which would give us a good understanding of how government intends to spend in the 2026 fiscal year. And so the estimate for the various ministries, departments and agencies and the passage of the appropriation. This usually would come with a lot of debate. Also, there are some bills like the Ghana Scholarship Authority Bill, which was opposed by some civil society organizations and also by some members of the minority, which would likely be back on the floor. But apart from that, another major one is the possible or the expected swearing in of the 2 new members of Parliament, i.e. Tamale Central for Professor Ali Duseidu and Akwetia for Bernard Bediako. But you also would expect some possible legislative instrument on legal education in Ghana, as well as Supreme Court rulings and especially how Supreme Court justices are removed. When the 2 new MPs are sworn in, the NDC, which is the majority, would have a total of 185 members plus the 4 independent members, making 189, and then you would have the majority, which has lost 1, which is the Akwatia seat, to now have a total of 87 members. When you talk about the minority, already they've held what they call the strategic pre-opening workshop, where the minority leader, address them and encourage them to have a united front and also ensure that they oppose when it matters and proffer solutions. And so it means that both sides have already aligned their priorities going into this upcoming meeting, which is really going to be a very short one, but very tight with a lot on their agenda.
Christian Yali bringing us those updates. Now, as the academic year begins, a conference of heads of assisted senior high schools, CHAS, is raising alarm over a critical shortage of essential furniture and accommodation facilities. CHAS says many schools lack adequate tables, chairs, and dormitory berths for the influx of new students. In an interview with 3FM, the president of CHAS, Reverend Father Usu, called on the Ministry of Education to urgently address the deficits.
What is really the problem now is the furniture, dining hall furniture, classroom furniture, office furniture, and then dormitories, the bank beds, we need them. We need the classroom tables and chairs or the desks, we need them. So that one, we have already written to the Director General in the ministry, and we have been promised that they are working on it. But they have to expedite action on it so that students coming in will not suffer so much, and the school authorities will also suffer. So we are expecting the furniture to be in our schools as soon as possible.
Now, before we go this morning, government is set to begin special courts designated to handle cases arising from audit infractions captured in the Auditor General's report. And these courts will focus on enforcing surcharges and disallowances as well as prosecuting related criminal offences. The decision follows a high-level meeting between President John Dramani Mahama, the Chief Justice, the Attorney General and the Auditor General to explore measures to strengthen the enforcement of findings contained in the Auditor General's report. In a statement signed by presidential spokesperson Felix Kwashifosu, this is part of renewed governmental commitment to combating financial mismanagement and improving fiscal discipline within public institutions. The president had expressed deep concern about the worrying trend of financial irregularities in the public sector, which cost several billions of cedis which go unrecovered. That's it for the morning news on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. I'll be back shortly with business news.
The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM. The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM. The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
Hello again, welcome to the business segment on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. I am Noble Crosby Annan. Coming up, financial economists urge a swift policy rollout to sustain Ghana's economic gains, and banks shift focus from treasury bills amid auction shortfalls. Meanwhile, financial analyst urges Ghana to return to capital markets for infrastructure funding. We have details of these stories and more coming shortly. Stay with us. Welcome. Let's get right into it. A financial economist, Dr. Eric Boakye-Yatom, has called on government to accelerate the implementation of its key economic policies, warning that failure to do so could undermine recent progress. Speaking on business focus, Dr. Boakye-Yatom, who lectures at the University of Professional Studies Accra, said Ghana's macroeconomic indicators have improved significantly under the Mahama administration, a development that contributed to the country securing its fifth staff level agreement with the International Monetary Fund.
I'm expecting more the commencement of policies like 24-hour economy and the big push agenda being implemented, because what I've seen in the structure of the Ghanaian economy is that when a new president comes, because of the optimism and the confidence we have, we achieve relatively good stability, especially in the first and second years. But the government usually fail to implement their key policies that will bring us a lasting stability. So if we don't see some of these policies kickstarting as early as possible, and we spend 2 years deciding on whether to implement, not to implement, the cyclical effect of some externalities or local challenges will even throw us off balance.
Financial economist Dr. Eric Boakye-Yatom speaking there. And now, the Ghana Association of Banks says its members are increasingly exploring alternative investment options with higher returns, including issuing out more loans as appetite for treasury bills continue to wane. This follows a series of undersubscribed government auctions in recent months, despite treasury bill yields remaining above the current inflation rate. Speaking on Business Focus, CEO of the association, John Owa, said recent macroeconomic gains have helped restore investor confidence, prompting a shift toward other sectors of the economy.
The bigger picture is that it's not just the banks, it's individuals, it's households, it's the pension funds, the business community, and the cash flow cycle. The fact that once the economy is correcting itself, rates are low, the yields on the T-bills are very low. Obviously, investors will be looking for other avenues, and as banks, the other avenue that is available will be to look for risky assets or risk assets and channel these funds over there. Now, we need to also understand that the T-bill, particularly when it comes to the banks, is not just an investment vehicle. It is also a liquidity management tool. As banks, we have various liquidity benchmarks that we have to meet. And depending on where a bank stands on the liquidity threshold, they may or may decide go into the.
Meanwhile, financial analyst Joe Jackson says government must return to the capital market to find critical funds for infrastructure projects. He argues this has become necessary as the government is no longer able to raise sufficient revenue from the treasury bills market due to rampant oversubscriptions. This comes despite the World Bank's earlier caution to Ghana against a premature return to the international capital market, stressing that rushing back could send the wrong signal to investors, risking a reversal of gains made through debt restructuring and exposing the country to unsustainable borrowing costs.
92.7.
I think what is going on shouldn't scare anyone yet. In any case, some of us are of the view that it is time now, given the discipline that we have, for the government to try and raise more money outside the shores of Ghana.
You're saying they should return to the capital market?
Yes.
Now is the time?
It's time to start thinking about it and do something about it. Because remember that every time the government is taking all its money out of the local market, that is crowding out some business that needs money. So you got to balance the two issues. Bring some money from outside so that there's a little bit more money available for those inside. Especially now that you say, let's invest in the 24-hour economy. Let's invest in this country. Let's create more businesses.
Joe Jackson is a financial analyst speaking. Now, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana has criticized commercial banks for failing to align lending rates with the country's improving macroeconomic environment, despite monetary policy rate of 21.5% and inflation rate of 9.4%. Executive Secretary of the Association, Samson Asaki Awengobet, called out the banking sector, noting a persistent lag in rate transmission that continues to burden businesses.
Those who borrowed at 30%, at 28%, because inflation was somewhere 28 thereabout. Now inflation has come from far away from 54 to 28. As we speak, it's 9.4. Prime rate now it has come all the way to 21.5. Why would someone loan that was that he took or she took with the commercial banks at the rate of 28 as interest rate or 30% as interest repayment is still paying when the inflation has even come down to 9.4 and the prime rate has come down to 21.5? What it means that the lending rate from the Bank of Ghana has also come down. So are Ghanaians continue servicing their loan vis-a-vis the current prevailing trend, or the loan was locked up at 28, so you still have to be paying?
Away from that, the Association of Ghana Industries has warned that government's 24-hour economic policy could falter unless urgent steps are taken to equip the workforce with critical technical skills. The flagship initiative aims to extend economic activity beyond conventional working hours, driving productivity and job creation across key sectors.
By enabling continuous operations in manufacturing, logistics, retail and services, the policy seeks to reduce underemployment and boost Ghana's global competitiveness. It also hinges on improvements in infrastructure, energy supply and security to sustain round-the-clock business activity. But speaking to journalists at a stakeholder workshop on the demand-oriented skills system platform, AGI Chief Executive Seth Chuma Kwampwa said the policy's success depends on targeted investment in technical and vocational training.
When you don't have the right skills in industry, you will struggle to achieve that. Part of the reason why China and the rest have become so competitive was that if you take Korea, for example, they emphasized a lot on technical skills development, technology, innovation, creativity. Because they emphasized on that, they've developed a pool of skills which are always needed in their industry. And in so doing, they are able to upskill and compete throughout the world.
The Demand-Oriented Skills System, or DOS Skills Platform, is a proposed framework to track industry-driven skill requirements, identify gaps, and anticipate future workforce needs.
What are the key skills that the industry needs, as you saw, whether it's on the current and the future demand? So the whole idea would be to take those skills and dig a little deeper and go back to the industry and said, if we were to work with you to design the curriculum or others on the skill, are they willing to then kind of invest in and put their people for the skill?
My colleague Mike Kolobudu with that report. Now, before we go, let's find out how the city is faring against other major trading currencies and how some other commodities are also on the international market.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar is selling at 10 cedis 80 pesewas. It's gained 10 pesewas. The British pound is selling at 14 cedis 49 pesewas. It's gained 13 pesewas. The euro is selling at 12 cedis 59 pesewas. It also gained 10 pesewas. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at the Forex Bureau. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is selling at about $60.91 per barrel. Price of gold went down by $104.72, trading now at about $4,356.54 per ounce. Price of cocoa went up by $4 to open trade at about $5,899 per ton.
And that's it for the business news on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. There's more business news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Annan. Sunrise continues with Eric Maunegbata and the rest of the team. Good morning.